Hello. It's time for an intense recap of the first 2/3 of the Shadow of Hakuho. Stop throw!
Throw the salt, get in the ring. Welcome to the Dohyo.
Hello and welcome back to the Dohyo here on Mr. J-Wag's channel. We have now reached the point of quarantine here where I pretty much have to bandana every day. We call this Joe Cocker Backup Band. Now today we are going to be sort of recapping the Shadow of Hakuho, the alternate universe where Hakuho doesn't exist, and we assign all of his Yusho to who would have won, the deserving Rikishi. Now we're just going to recap it. It's going to be a little different than the last recap. The last recap I just sort of like shouted all the things I had already said in all the other episodes, but like faster and with like a techno beat. But this time I'm just going to sort of do a recap of where we are in the story of Sumo in the alternate timeline. If you haven't seen it, head back to episode 7 of the Dohyo, or you can just jump in right here with the recap and ride it all the way to the end. That sounded creepier than I wanted it to. So let's load the torpedoes and fill the ballast tanks, because it's time to dive deep into the Shadow of Hakuho. Now, in terms of where we are in the calendar, we have finished 27 of the Basho. So we have basically reached the end of 2013, Hakuho's 27th Yusho. It will not surprise you that Asashoryu is still dominant, and yes, he is still in the lead for the leaderboard of the Shadow of Hakuho. Yes, Asashoryu, even though he has been retired for quite a bit of time in this alternate universe, we had him retired at the exact same time he retired in real life. He's still in the lead with a lock, a strong case, and 2 definite maybes. No one yet has been able to overtake that. The other interesting thing about Asashoryu is that he would have been our last true alpha dog in Sumo had Hakuho never existed. Now, one step down, tied at second place, are Yokozuna's Haramafuji and Kisano Sato. Now, of course, both of them were amazing wrestlers in life with Hakuho there, so it stands to reason they'd be even more amazing in the absence of Hakuho. They each have 1 lock and 1 strong case. Tied for 4th at 2 strong cases, Kodomitsuki, as we all remember from earlier episodes, was kicked out of Sumo for gambling. And Kakuryu, of course, is our most recently retired Yokozuna. We are going to be seeing a lot more of Kakuryu in the near future. And 5th on our leaderboard, Baruto. We all remember that episode. It had a cool theme song that only I liked. But digging into it a little bit, all the people who did make Yokozuna during Hakuho's reign still would have made Yokozuna. I just believe that Haramafuji and Kisano Sato would have made Yokozuna much sooner. Haramafuji maybe a year earlier, and Kisano Sato possibly 4 years earlier. But the most interesting part of the Shadow of Hakuho to date is our 2 Shadow Yokozuna. Number 1, Baruto, who we mentioned before. Now, this is slightly contingent on him winning an 11-4 Yusho, which we explained in the episode, but I do think that, plus his following effort at 14-1, would have gotten him to Yokozuna, especially in the absence of any Yokozuna at this time in the Shadowverse. And the other one, which was shocking, so shocking, I didn't even discover this in a Shadow of Hakuho episode, Kaio. Kaio, during his last Yokozuna run, was given an ultimatum. If you get 13 wins in this tournament, you can get your Yokozuna rope. And he was about to, and then he faced a Maegashira and lost. And they said, well, you can't possibly be a Yokozuna. You lost to that Maegashira. That Maegashira's name was Hakuho. So in a very real way, Hakuho may have kept both Baruto and Kaio from their Yokozuna ropes. And a very special sumo shout out to the wrestlers who would have likely won championships had Hakuho never existed, but never ended up winning one. Aran, Miyabiyama, Tochiozan, and Toyonoshima. So that's basically where we are, the end of 2013, and a lot of the people you're going to see from here on out in the Shadow of Hakuho are people we know because we're seeing them, and a lot of them are still around or have only retired just recently. Yusho's 28 for 31 are coming up very soon, and I know you're all excited about that. So yeah, I'm interested to see what happens at the end of Shadow of Hakuho, and of course at the end of all of it I'm going to be doing a big recap with everything, and sort of how I got there in terms of all of the stats that I'm going to be doing through. I'm sure all of you are very excited about the Moneyball fans in the crowd. You're going to love that ep. So everyone stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and I will see you next time on the Dohyo.